Delta State crowns 4 National Youth Games in Asaba. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori stresses need for senior civil servants to avoid acts that would mitigate development in Delta State. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) begins distribution of election materials in Edo State. And abroad, United Nations General Assembly adopts a Palestinian-drafted non-binding resolution demanding Israel's end. Good evening and welcome to the Delta Television News at 8. I am Ogaga Ekama. Delta State has been crowned winners of the 8th edition of the National Youth Games tagged Asaba 2024. From the medal table, Delta clinched 111 medals, comprising of 46 gold, 31 silver, and 34 bronze to emerge winner of the competition. Ejime Udweme reports.
Lagos State came second with 65 medals, while Edo came third with 59 medals. Speaking at the event, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori congratulated contingents from the 35 states and Abuja for their excellent performance and spirit of sportsmanship throughout the tournament. The governor, represented by the state deputy governor, Sir Monday Onyeme, said sports has helped to strengthen the bond of unity among different nationalities and gave assurance that his administration will spare no effort in giving priority to programs that would help discover young athletes. He said it was a pride for the state to host the competition in the last 2 years and thanked the Federal Ministry of Sports for creating platforms to discover athletes at the grassroots.
The game has once again demonstrated the power of sports to unite and to promote friendship and comradeship, as well as to showcase our rich cultural diversity. As we bring the games to a close, let us continue to nurture our young talents. Let us continue to invest in grassroots sports development.
The Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Eno, represented by the Director, Grassroots Sports in the Ministry, Mr. Patrick Okeke, said the administration of President Bola Tinubu will leverage on the economic potentials of grassroots development and charge those in charge of the talents discovered to nurture them to stardom. He thanked the state government for successful hosting and reminded various states of the need to use the platform to nurture young athletes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to reaffirm that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration is committed to leveraging the socio-economic potential in the sports sector to implement the renewed hope agenda. Consequently, I call on all stakeholders to support the Federal Ministry of Sports in charting a new path that will drive growth in the sector. I want to commend the host, Delta State Government, for being a valuable partner in developing grassroots sports in Nigeria.
Other speakers at the event said there was urgent need to help groom young athletes to represent the country at international levels. Delta has won the yearly event for the past 8 years. Highlight was presentation of trophies to the 3 states that claimed first to third positions. Ejime Udweme reporting.
Permanent secretaries, heads of extra-ministerial departments, and directors in ministries, departments, and agencies in the state civil service have been told to shun acts capable of slowing down the pace of development currently going on in the state. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori made a call at a meeting with permanent secretaries, heads of extra-ministerial departments, and directors of MDAs at the Unity Hall Government House, Asaba. Again, Ejime Udweme has details.
Governor Oborevwori's meeting was aimed at ensuring that government and public servants were on the same page in relation to policy formulation and implementation, and advised those aiding and abetting on professional practices to desist from such or be ready to face severe consequences. He expressed displeasure over the way some civil servants connive with contractors to execute shoddy jobs and pledged his readiness to monitor all projects before they are inaugurated.
You want to be a contractor. You award a contract to a contractor. You say, you that is site engineer, you want to do the contract for the contractor. They will supervise you. They will sublet the contract to you for drainage. While the contractor will do the road. And you go and do bad work. What do I want to say certificate? Go and issue certificates. Is it a good thing?
Governor Borewori said the award of contract to construction giant Julius Berger Nigeria PLC was a deliberate effort to checkmate local contractors, pointing out that any contractor that executed a substandard job will be blacklisted. He noted that training and retraining, as well as welfare packages for workers in the state, were very dear to his administration, stressing that he was waiting for the enabling charge from the federal government to commence payment of the new minimum wage.
I want all of us to do well. Then there are something I also see, and it's not also good. You will see a village. The population of that village is not 100. You want to put 6 classrooms, you see like 4-6 classrooms. Meanwhile, they cannot even occupy that one block. Is it not a waste? Why not take that project to another place?
Governor Borewori directed the Office of the Accountant General and other stakeholders to ensure that workers in the state receive their salaries before 26th of every month. The governor reiterated that since he came into office as governor of the state, the welfare of workers have received priority attention and called on workers to offer suggestions that will take the state to greater heights. He disclosed that over 14 billion naira has been released for the payment of pensions to pensioners in the state, adding that the payment was in line with time of retirement. Governor Borewori said the state has over 55,000 workers in its payroll and called on stakeholders in MDAs not to allow those who have traveled out of the country for years to collect monthly salaries for jobs they abandoned. He promised to continue to work with all for the general good of the state. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has begun the distribution of sensitive materials for Saturday's governorship election to the 18 local government areas of Edo State. The ongoing distribution started this morning at the premises of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Akpakpava Junction, located at the Ring Road, Benin City, created gridlock in area as traffic only opened to one lane on the busy road. The hired vehicles that will convey the materials to various locations were stationed beside the CBN, while the area was almost closed for commercial activities as buses plied one way to enter and exit the area. Meanwhile, hundreds of journalists from both print and electronic media besieged the venue to capture the moment. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mr. Onwara Anubum, supervised the distribution of the materials as he confirmed the developments to journalists inside the Central Bank before the commencement of the distribution of materials. The state government has given a 7-day ultimatum to Ole and Ozora communities to accept the court order to maintain peace in the state. The Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Kingsley M. stated this during a joint meeting with the representatives of Ole and Ozora communities of Isoko North and South local government area, held at his office in Asaba. Henry Unogwa reports.
Dr. Emo said the meeting was to inform the disputed parties of the state government's decision to confiscate the disputed land, failure to put their peace agreement into writing within 1 week. He noted that the lingering land dispute had caused untold hardship on the communities, adding that valuables and lives had been lost, urging them to use their energy positively to develop their communities. Dr. Emo frowned at the disputed communities who refused to obey court order following the report by the Judicial Commission of Inquiry headed by Honorable Justice Marcel Oko, and enjoined them to shield their sword, saying that no crisis would be tolerated in the state.
If after 1 week, the two of you are not agreeing, the state has an option. We'll confiscate the lands. And we'll make it an Ole Ozoro reserve. We'll present as such. And it will become, then we'll move in with sufficient security to protect our territory, because it's a reserve.
In an interview, the special advisor to the state governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Chief Edwin Ozo, said the panel of inquiry had played their part by carrying out their findings and presenting it to the state government. He noted that based on the panel submissions, a white paper was released on the matter, adding that the state government would create lasting solution to the disputed land.
The decision we were taking is that we're going to stand on the Judicial Inquiry Commission report, white paper, and that's what we should do. Then they should go and live in peace and be able to arrange themselves properly. That the issue of trial, the matter that have been dragging over 7 years, is not heard. Now that that report has come out for the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, I'm sure we respect it and abide by it.
In attendance were the two chairmen of the disputed land, representatives of the traditional rulers, security agencies, and the officials of the Ministry of Land and Survey. Henry Onogwa reporting.
Of the State Orientation and Communications Bureau, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, has affirmed that the energy policy of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori was all-encompassing. Dr. Ogenesiwe stated this while speaking on Wednesday as a guest on Orientation Panorama on Voice of Delta FM radio in Asaba, saying that it was the responsibility of the federal government, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, and Nigerian Ajib Oil Company to fund the Okpai Power step-down as contained in the joint venture agreement signed by all parties before the project commenced about 3 decades ago. He said Okpai Power step-down was a critical project that would provide constant power supply to host communities in Ndokwa Nation and other communities in the state through the Public-Private Partnership PPP, noting that there was the need for the federal government and other stakeholders to join forces to accomplish the set goal in solving epileptic power supply. He noted that the PPP plan entailed a series of strategies capable of solving the epileptic power supply problems in phases across the state and assured that the state would domesticate the federal energy law, empowering both state and federal governments to invest, generate, and transmit power in their areas. He opined that the project financiers and investors were to be blamed for the discrepancy in the Okpai Power step-down because it was contained in the project deal, adding that for the states to be involved in the project, it would require the consent and approval of all stakeholders who in time past invested heavily to generate power through the plant. The Bureau DG commended Senator Woko's effort over the Okpai Power step-down project for approaching the federal government to invoke a section of the joint venture agreement which noted in detail that there would be a power step-down to light up the host communities, urging the senator to follow up with the promise made by the Honorable Minister for the projects to be captured in the 2025 federal budget. The Inspector General of Police, IGP, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered the immediate redeployment of commissioners of police in the Federal Capital Territory, Rivers State, and Delta State. The strategic move was aimed to enhance the efficiency of the police force for effective policing. According to the Force Police Relations Officer, ACP Muyiwa Dejobi, listed the redeployment to include the following changes. CP Olatunji Disu is to head the FCT command, replacing CP Peter Okwara, who will take over as the new CP of Delta State, while CP Abaniwanda Olufemi will assume leadership of Rivers State Command. In addition to these changes, the Inspector General of Police has deployed 4 new commissioners of police to Abia, Lagos, Ebonyi, and Akwa Ibom state commands. The deployments reflected the IGP's mission to reposition the police force, maximize human resources, and enhance security across the country. Mr. Egbetokun has charged the new commissioners of police to demonstrate diligence in their duties and develop innovative strategies to address security challenges in their respective areas. He also encouraged them to support the ongoing police reform plans, which would contribute to the progress of the Nigeria Police Force and the nation's growth. This move was reminiscent of previous redeployments, such as the 2023 election duty redeployment of senior police officers, including AIG Abutu Yaro and CP Okon Effiong. The Nigeria Police Force remains committed to ensuring effective policing and maintaining public safety. The senator representing Delta North Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Senator Ned Nwoko, has been charged to concentrate on partnering federal government and other stakeholders on ways to attract sustainable development to the district and the state in general. Executive Assistant to the Governor on Public Enlightenment of Projects and Policies, Mr. Olisaife Jika, gave the charge while addressing journalists at Government House Asaba on a viral video where Senator Nwoko alleged that Governor Sheriff Oborewori ought to champion the stepping down of electricity at the Okpai Independent Power Project IPP. Ejime Udweme reports.
Mr. Ifejika noted that power generation and distribution was in the exclusive list of the federal government and wondered why the governor should be stampeded to step the Okpa IPP down. He said it was unwarranted for the federal lawmaker to malign the governor the way he did, stressing that the more agenda was evenly being executed across the state. The governor's aide therefore advised Senator Nwoko to synergize with the federal government in stepping down the 100 megawatts of electricity from Okpai IPP.
So we found as a bit uncharitable for our distinguished senator to begin to try to untwist our governor, Elder Sheriff Oborewori, to pick the bill of the Okpai project. It is not in any way within the purview of the state government.
While saying that government was a continuum, he debunked the allegation that former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa left huge debt profile for his successor to handle. Mr. Ifejika stated that it was not true that the former administration abandoned Warri, saying that the underground drainage project was aimed at deflooding the city. He reminded the senator of the need for him to prevail on President Bola Tinubu to champion the asphalt tarring of federal roads in Delta North and Delta State in general, which according to him were in deplorable states.
Traveling now from Abo, leave Benin, and from Abo to the bridgehead here, there are so many challenged spots. And to Bulokiti, somewhere around the Ukwe Junction here, and all of that. You should look at those ones and bring the federal government to come and do that in his constituency.
Ejime Udweme reporting.
The government has called on agencies recruiting for the private sector to adhere to the 70,000 naira minimum wage, warning that any deviation would not be tolerated. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, stated this yesterday while speaking at the 13th Annual General Meeting of the Employers Association for Private Employment Agencies of Nigeria, held in Ikeja, Lagos. Mr. Abubakar, who was represented by the Director of Employment and Wages of the Ministry, Mr. John Yamali, said the minimum wage has become a law, and as a result, it was a punishable crime for any employer to pay less than 70,000 naira to its workers. In his remarks, the President of the Employers Association for Private Employment Agencies of Nigeria, Dr. Olufemi Ogunlowo, asked the government and Nigerian Labour Congress to clarify whether the 70,000 naira minimum wage was net or gross, noting that all ambiguities in the Act should be highlighted and explained. Mr. Ogunlowo said that the EAPEAN was already committed to the minimum wage, providing decent jobs for Nigerians and guarding against the exploitation of human resources. According to the FG, the new minimum wage is necessary to address the current economic reality, emphasizing that no Nigerian worker, whether in government or private employment, should be paid less than the minimum wage. Speaking at the program, the chairperson of the NLC Lagos State Council, Mrs. Fumilayo Sesi, said the prevailing hardship had made a mess of whatever income any Nigerian worker was earning in the country, calling on private employers to ensure the payment of the 70,000 naira minimum wage. She said the 70,000 naira was not enough in the current economic realities, adding that by the time the consequential adjustment was concluded, urging all private employment agencies should immediately start paying their workers the 70,000 naira minimum wage. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has granted the request of the federal government and former Chief Justice of Nigeria CJN Justice Walter Onoge to settle out of court an appeal challenging his removal from office. The decision of the court reached today followed information that the two parties in the suit had intensified efforts to reach an amicable settlement of all issues in the dispute. Former President Muhammadu Buhari had in 2019 removed Onoge as the Chief Justice of Nigeria during the pendency of a charge against him at the Code of Conduct Tribunal. However, at today's proceedings in the appeal, counsel to the CJN, Dr. Ogu Onoja, SAN, informed a three-member panel of the appeal court that the two parties were involved in discussions on a peaceful resolution of the dispute. Mr. Onoja informed the court that the parties had an engagement up until yesterday and expressed optimism that the discussion would be fruitful. He subsequently appealed to the appellate court for a one-month adjournment for final settlement of the matter. Counsel to the federal government, Mr. Tijani Ganzali, confirmed the submission of Mr. Onoja and requested that the matter be shifted for a possible amicable settlement. Justice J.O. Oyewole, who presided over the proceedings, directed them to file terms of settlement for adoption when eventually agreed upon. Justice Oyewole held that the terms of settlement must be documented and filed before the adjourned date for the court to adopt as its judgment in the matter. It subsequently adjourned until November 4 as the return date for the two parties. The Joint Action Committee of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, NASU, have given 3 weeks ultimatum to embark on an indefinite strike for non-payment of its outstanding salaries within 3 weeks. The committee issued the threat in a statement jointly signed by SANU President Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim and NASU General Secretary Prince Peters Adeyemi. According to the unions, the 10-day grace period given to the federal government to pay the 4 months of outstanding salaries to university staff has elapsed. The unions threatened to shut down universities and inter-university centers if payment was not made within the fresh grace period. The SANU and NASU are demanding, among other things, the payment of 4 months withheld salaries of their members, improved remuneration and allowances, and the implementation of the 2009 agreement with the federal government. You are watching the Delta Television News at 8. Still to come, United Nations General Assembly adopts a Palestinian-drafted non-binding resolution demanding Israel's end. Details of this and more coming up shortly.
Why should they do younger like this?
As you see me so, I don't become 10x of the woman when I be before. Berekete 10x.
Make you enjoy 10 times your recharge, double data, and other vitamins on top, voice calls, IG, TikTok, audio and video streaming, Zoom calls, and other better things them. Dial *301#.
You never finish up. 1,000 naira welcome bonus for voice and data.
You mean all this thing for Berekete 10x?
Full of the enjoyment.
Is your line blocked? You can get your line unblocked free, fast and easy. Quickly go to any Glow World shop or SIM registration center near you and link your NIN to your Glow line right now. Got no NIN? Visit the nearest NIMC office, get an NIN, and then link it to your Glow line. NIN registration is free, so reconnect with Glow today.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on the news. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
The United Nations General Assembly has adopted a Palestinian-drafted non-binding resolution demanding Israel ends its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory within 12 months. There were 124 votes in favor and 14 against, including Israel, along with 43 abstentions. As a non-member, observer state Palestine could not vote. The resolution is based on a July advisory opinion from the UN's highest court that said Israel was occupying the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip against international law. The Palestinian ambassador called the vote a turning point in his struggle for freedom and justice, but his Israeli counterpart denies it as diplomatic terrorism. Although the General Assembly's resolutions are not binding, given they reflect the positions of all 193 member states of the United Nations. It comes after almost a year of war in Gaza, which began when Hamas gunmen attacked Israel on October 7, killing about 1,200 people and taking 251 others as hostages. More than 41,000 people have been killed in Gaza since then, according to the territory's Hamas-run health ministry. There has also been a spike in violence in the West Bank over the same period, in which the United Nations says more than 680 Palestinians and 22 Israelis have been killed. Another 10 Israelis have been killed in attacks by Palestinians in Israel. Haiti's government has taken a key step towards holding a long-delayed elections with the creation of a body which will oversee the polls. The 9-member Provisional Electoral Commission set up yesterday has been tasked with organizing elections by February 2026. The last time Haitians voted someone into power was in 2016. Since then, armed gangs have seized control of almost the entire capital, Port-au-Prince, as well as the largest parts of rural areas of Haiti. So far, 7 members of the Provisional Electoral Council (CEP) have been named. Among them are representatives of the media, academia, trade unions, and religious groups. Gabon's deposed president Ali Bongo has announced he will quit politics a year after he was toppled from power by a military coup. Mr. Bongo, in a letter addressed to Gabonese people, reaffirmed his withdrawal from political life and the definite renunciation of any national ambition. The 65-year-old also called for the release of his wife and son, who are in detention, awaiting trial on corruption allegations. It is not clear whether his statement follows any negotiations with the military rulers or if he is hoping that by agreeing to quit politics, he will secure his family's freedom. Mr. Bongo suffered a stroke in 2018, and his health was a major source of concern for many in the build-up to the 2023 presidential election. The army seized power last August, shortly after Mr. Bongo was declared the winner of the election, which was disputed by the opposition. He had led the oil-rich country since 2009, when he succeeded his father, who had been in power for more than 40 years. The family had strong links to France, the former colonial power in Gabon. The coup led by General Brice Oligui Nguema was greeted by celebrations at home, but was condemned by regional and continental bodies as
We do apologize for that break. Next, join our business news desk for the business news.
The federal government of Nigeria has introduced an advanced supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA system to enhance the monitoring and management of the national power grid. The initiative, spearheaded by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, was funded by the World Bank, aimed at reducing the frequent power grid collapse while ensuring a more reliable electricity supply across the country. During the launch at the event held at the National Control System (NCC) in Gwagwalada, Abuja, the Minister of Power, Mr. Adebayo Adelabu, emphasized the importance of the SCADA system in transforming the grid operational efficiency. He highlighted that the system included automated data collection, fault detection, and remote-controlled operations, all aimed at modernizing Nigeria's power infrastructure and implementing smart grid technologies. The development was part of the Nigeria's Electricity Transmission Access Project, which focuses on achieving energy security and expanding electricity access for Nigerians, paved the way for increased private sector investment and innovation in the energy markets. The Managing Director of TCN, Mr. Sule Abdulaziz, commended the successful administration of the SCADA system, describing it as a result of a year of effort by the government to ensure reliable power supply. He noted that the contract for the system was awarded in 2022. And included the installation of over 2,700 kilometers of optical ground wire along transmission routes.
And to end the news, here again are the main points. Delta State has been crowned winners of the 8th edition of the National Youth Games tagged Asaba 2024. From the medal table, Delta clinched 111 medals comprising 46 gold, 31 silver and 34 bronze to emerge winner of the competition. Permanent secretaries, heads of extra-ministerial departments and directors in ministries, departments and agencies in the state civil service have been told to shun acts capable of slowing down the pace of development currently going on in the state. Governor Sheriff Obrewori stated this while in a meeting with permanent secretaries, heads of extra-ministerial departments and directors of MDAs at the Unity Hall Government House, Asaba. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has begun the distribution of sensitive materials for Saturday's governorship election to the 18 local government areas of Edo State. The United Nations General Assembly has adopted a Palestinian-drafted non-binding resolution demanding Israel's end its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory within 12 months. That's the news. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ogaga Ikama. Good evening.